Today on the Transplant Helper, I'm going to be giving you 3 great tips you can start implementing right now in your life that will help you to get things done, to accomplish something, to make strides in the right direction at least. So go ahead and stay tuned. Hey folks, welcome to the Transplant Helper again today. My name is Jim Merle. If you like, I am. Just getting something done every day is a huge deal in your life. Accomplishing something, or at least feeling like you're accomplishing something, is a huge motivator to keeping you driving forward, to keeping you strong, and to keeping you for looking ahead. And that's what I'm looking for most every day, is kind of a checklist, in my mind at least, of things I was able to do because of transplant. Now, if you back up in my life, say 5.5 years ago, just prior to transplant, as I've said many a time on the program here, me sleeping 16, 18 hours a day was just part of the deal. You add to that a couple of meals a day, a shower or so, going to the bathroom, that sort of thing. You didn't have any time left to do anything. I didn't have the energy, I didn't have the stamina, I didn't have the will or desire even to do very much, but things have changed since transplant. Now I'm looking for ways to do stuff. I'm looking for things that I can accomplish. And so today on this particular program, I'm going to help you to accomplish more in your life as well. And I'm going to do that by giving you 3 tips that you can keep in the back of your mind all the time that will help you to make those accomplishments a part of your reality. So here they go. Number 1, and probably the most important, there has to be a realization. I know I've used that word here on several different programs, but I'm tying it back in today again. There has to be a realization of what you can do. Not just what you can do, but really what you can do, or at least how you can go about doing that. Because unless you're able to realize what your standards are and what your limits are, and then apply that to yourself, you're not going to get anything done at all. Let me give you an example. Back on last week, I had the opportunity, I was blessed to be able to do it. I was able to paint my living room, okay? I painted all the walls, all the trim, the door facings, you name it. I painted it. Top to bottom, it looks great. But what I had to really come to realize in doing that is that the way I did that was going to matter more than doing it itself. You see, even though I was able to paint my living room last week, don't get the idea that I just grabbed a couple gallons of paint, walked in there, knocked it out like I used to, walked out of the room, and it was done, because that's not the way it works. As a matter of fact, I accomplished painting my living room by painting it over the course of 3 different days. You see, I went in there on the first day, I painted a little bit of the trim, kind of cut some edges in. Went in there on the second day, I think I accomplished 1 complete wall, got it finished, trimmed and all, baseboards, crown molding and everything. And then by the 3rd day of that, I finally went back in, and over hours and hours of time going in there, working a little, coming out, going back, finally I accomplished painting the entire room. So see, I understood by that in my realization of my mind that I could do it, but the only way I was going to be able to do it was if I took my time, and if I paced myself. And I've told you that many a times. That is the key to our lives sometimes, is just knowing how to pace ourselves and having the realization in our minds on how things can get done. So you got to think things through. Before you start, just think it through. Decide, if I can do this, how am I going to do that? So that's important. Number 2, add to that a similar word that I've talked about before, but add to that determination. You see, what really happened, you don't know all the backstory, I'm going to share it with you. But what really happened is about 4 or so years ago, we decided that we needed to paint our living room. Well, maybe the word need's not the right word, but we decided that we wanted to paint our living room. As a family, my wife and I, we decided, hey, it's just time to put a fresh coat on this place. It's time to get this freshened up. And when we got ready to do that, the first instinctive thing to do was, well, I was going to paint it. You know, I like to paint. I'm good at painting. I was going to paint it. But the truth is, after 4 years, I still had not gotten that done. And I can't tell you the number of times when I would bump into a friend of mine who's a contractor and say, hey, Philip, if you got any of your painters that are bored, that don't have anything to do, send them over my way. I'll just pay them to paint my living room. At least that's the way I thought. Now, thankfully, in the long run, nobody ever showed up. Nobody ever came. Nobody ever came over to paint my living room, so I didn't have to pay anybody, and it didn't get done that way. So what I had to do at the end of the day after 4 years, which by the way, yes, my wife can tell you I'm pretty rough when it comes to getting things done, you know, actually getting into the task. I'm even worse if I start something about finishing it, but that's neither here nor there. That's just my confessions, okay? But anyway, as it turned out, I had to finally determine in myself, Jim, you're the guy, you in the mirror, me right here, you're the guy who's got to paint this. You're not going to hire somebody. You're not going to bring anybody in. There's no one else going to come in and do this for nothing. And so you are going to have to paint this room. And I determined within myself that some way, somehow, someday, I was going to finally get it painted. And after 4 years, yes, last week, over the course of days, that's what I did. So you got to make a determination. You got to realize what can you do, how can you accomplish it, and then just say, yes, I'm doing that. That's my task to do. It doesn't matter whether it's painting or anything else. That's what you have to decide. And then the next one here I want to add to that, because this can apply itself, the last one, number 3, to either pre or post-transplant patients, and that is you also have to learn delegation, okay? After realization, after determination, you've got to learn delegation. Now, you say, Jim, what is delegation? Delegating is the willingness or the ability to delegate or to hand task off to someone who's more appropriate. Now, in the case of painting my living room, I was able to do it. I figured out a way, I got it done. But there are times, listen here carefully, I have to learn this myself. There are times when you're better off just delegating that task, delegating that thing, that work to someone else. Let them accomplish it. Stand back and watch and enjoy the fruit of it, okay? I'm a hands-on guy. I like to do everything myself. I think the best way to do anything is to do it my way. That way it'll be the right way. That's not always correct either. But, you know, I have to learn to delegate. As a matter of fact, if I tell the truth about my life, my former life prior to pre-transplant, I should say, was in supervision. And so one of the things I learned over the course of being in supervision for almost 12 years, and it took that long to learn it too, but for 12 years I learned that, Jim, if you try to do everything, even though I had hundreds of employees working beneath me, if you try to do everything, you'll get nothing done. And so finally I learned in that career to delegate, to say, okay, this is your task, that's your task, that's your task, and to pass things out. And then we work together and we finish. We get things done. And you'll get more done that way. So, yes, I want you to accomplish something. I want you to get something done. As that kind of comedian, you say, get her done. I want you to get her done. But I want you to do it in a way that works best for you. If that means calling on friends and family members and caregivers and children or aunts, uncles, brothers, cousins, and bring their dog to help you do something, just do it that way. You're better off getting things accomplished, because emotionally, mentally, especially us as transplant patients, that's part of what we need. That's a shot in the arm that really makes us feel good when we can accomplish something. So I hope this helps you out in some way. If it does, if you like this video, how about give it a big thumbs up? That encourages me as well as others that might potentially watch it. Go ahead and consider subscribing. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, right now is the perfect time to hit that bell notification and the subscribe button, the bell notification, so you can be notified whenever I put out content, which I hope will advocate, educate, and motivate you as a transplant patient. As well, I like to ask you right now, comment below this video. What is it in your life that you want to accomplish? What do you want to get done? And if so, have you accomplished that? Tell us about that. That encourages us all when you share your story with the whole community. I appreciate you joining me today. Until next time, please stay stronger, friends.